All right, this last question here, take a minute to read it over. And so in this question, we're looking at shadows. And so what are shadows? Well, they're the amount that's being blocked by the sun. The object's getting in the way of the sun. And we can assume this building and the man are kind of in the same place geographically. So the sun is at the same angle for both. And so we've got this building. Okay, here's my building. And the sun is shining and the building makes this angle that results in a shadow on the ground. So here's our shadow this building is making on the ground. And that shadow is 60 meters. We don't know how high the building is. That's what we're trying to figure out. So let's call that X. Well, we also know 160 an 160 centimeter man. So let's say our man is right here. Little green man. There he is. And he's 160 centimeters. So obviously this isn't to scale, but that's okay. He's 160 centimeters. Well, the angle of the sun is going to be the same relative to him because he's in the same area. And so it's going to be the same angle. So in other words, I guess if I was to draw in red here, these two are the same angle. And we have right angles down here, so they're the same. So hopefully you can see, especially since that third angle there is going to be identical between those two, we are dealing with similar triangles. So that 160 centimeter man casts a shadow that's 120 centimeters. So here is 120 centimeters. And I guess I should say the 60 meters, we'll just draw down here, is all the way. That's the entire length of the shadow of that building. And we are asked to find how tall is the building. Well, if you want, you don't have to do the step, but I'm going to draw that smaller triangle separately, just so I can kind of reinforce that it is a similar triangle. So we have 160 centimeters and 120 centimeters. So if I was to set this up, we know those are similar triangles then. So if I did X, side length X of the city building over 60, now units. Actually, the units are a little bit strange, but let's just for sake of simplicity, you don't actually have to convert the units here because we can do meters over meters equals centimeters over centimeters, but let's go ahead and do it. Might make things a little bit easier to think about. So we've got X over 60 equals, so 160 centimeters is 1.6 meters over 1.2. If you don't make that conversion, you'll see you get the same answer. But like I said, I think for simplicity, it's easier to do the conversion. So if we multiply both sides by 60 here, we're going to have X is, so 1.6 times 60 equals divided by 1.2 equals 80. So the building is 80 meters tall. And this is kind of a cool application because you can actually use it yourself, either using your height or using a meter stick to measure the shadow perhaps a meter stick makes. Then you could measure the shadow that's something you're interested in figuring out the height of. So maybe like a really large tree or a city building, you could measure its shadow. And so using similar proportions, you can figure out your unknown height.